Yes, it is a good evening to all of us, and particularly the post-main election greeting from the Ballot 2026, the program that reflects on the elections of this year that are ongoing right now. It comes your way from Family TV, the Church of Uganda television station. Baguma Tinka Simere Richard, I am your host. I'm glad to be back after discharging my civic duty, discharging my duty as a citizen, and that is electing my leaders. I want to thank you very much for those of you who are part of the slightly over 50% of the registered voters who went to cast their vote. Thank you so much. I also want to appeal to the other about 50% who didn't, that the elections are still going on. We still can go and do our duty. That especially means that we will make a choice on who steers us for the next 5 years, but also can be very impactful for the next years. So thank you so much for joining us. I'm really grateful to you for the audience that you give us. Next to me, I'm going to introduce my immediate right, Farida Rule. Now, Farida Rule is not new to the audience, for those of you who have been with us. But if in case you have just joined us, Farida Rule comes from the Ushahidi Foundation. And she's going to, tell us a little bit more about this foundation and particularly the work they have been doing. They still continue to do that relates to the ballot, the elections 2026. Farida. You're very happy
I'm very happy that you are back in good health and that you exercised your duty, yes, civic duty. And I hope everyone there who is watching Family TV, you are part of us. I voted. Don't ask me the person I voted for.
No.
But I'm glad we are.
The way you are laughing, the one you voted must have gone through.
I'm not going to go into that detail.
You are protected.
But at least I want to give assurance that if you vote someone and the person doesn't go through, that is not the end. You still have to be human, and then life continues. I'm Farida Rule, Executive Director of Ushahidi Foundation Uganda. In this election, we have been voter educators, and we have also been election observers. So we are playing two roles. But I'm glad that at least on election day, I was able to see people with their voter location slips. So I know that my message, and this part of my message, was received by the voters. I thank you, everyone, all those who participated in the elections. That was really good. You don't have to regret. Those who did not, like he said, we still have the mayor elections coming tomorrow, LC5 and other elections. We will conclude our election in February. So please do the needful and go out and cast your votes.
All right, thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to hearing your experiences in the two hats that you wear, and the role that you played, and how much sleep you have had to do this work and your teams. Next is Daniel. Daniel Rugarama likes to be called a thinker, among other things. It's like some of us don't think. And then, of course, Daniel is an analyst, global geostrategic analyst. But my association with him is more on the Pan-African movement. Daniel, you're welcome. You say hello to our viewers.
A very good evening to you, our esteemed viewers, and salutations to my comrades here in the studio. I'm looking forward to having this discussion, and I congratulate all the stakeholders who participated at the level of presidential and parliamentary elections, and who are still eager to participate in the subsequent voting exercise, because we are not yet done.
Aha. And then I actually expected him to have yellow shoes, among other things, but it's just the yellow shirt. I thought he was going to come with yellow socks, yellow shoes, celebrating.
The victory.
Jamil,
Yes, sir.
wassalamu alaikum.
Salam.
Good evening.
Good evening to you.
You must be feeling very good.
Yeah,
Eh.
and healthy.
So Jamil Kazwe comes from the office of the national coordinator, the national chairperson
Yeah,
of the National Resistance Movement.
yeah.
You say hello to our viewers.
Yeah, good evening, viewers, and good evening, my comrades here. Nice meeting you. It's my first time to be at Family TV. I've been eager and waiting for this moment. So we appreciate the service rendered to our country. But as Office of the National Chairman, I think our mandate since 2015, finally, for us, we finished on 16th. Our role as Office of the National Chairman currently headed or steward under the stewardship of Hajati Hadija Namia Luzie, Senior Presidential Advisor in Political Affairs. Our mandate and role, one is to protect the votes of His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. So we are operating two categories as polling agents and vote protectors as well. And our role, as of now, we are done. We have gathered all the DRA forms, because apparently we hear there is someone who has petitioned. So our role now is to submit the DRA forms to the courts of law, and we wait what will come out. Yeah.
What does a vote protector do?
The vote protector, one, because in the first place, the same question. It is the same question I asked President Museveni some time back. He was saying, no, you cannot say. For him, he said nyekundire. If you are nyekundire, you cannot say you can allow people to disorganize the democracy and the peace during election time. So you are playing a role of being a polling agent, and if at all you see someone trying to disturb or disorganize the process, it is your mandate and your role to protect my vote. So that is how even his office was established. So that is how the vote protection come about. And you will find countrywide, it is only His Excellency that had on each and every polling station 3 polling agents. So the 2 were inside and 1 was there as a substitute. So the role they did very well.
With an appointment letter.
With appointment letters. So
For now, they are souvenirs.
of course.
But how can they be souvenirs? What if the petition goes through? So you guys have to remain standby, unless you say you know the outcome
No, we
of
don't.
the petition.
But there is another angle. The angle is it only for the chairman of the party, or it is for the members that subscribe and have participated in the elections under the NRM umbrella?
Not the chairman. Okay,
so the
anyway, let Jamil.
It is only the chairman. The reason being, and that is why Office of the National Chairman has been doing that role. Because during election, you find that MPs only concentrate on their votes. And Mzee at times said, but you see, all these people you call that are pro-me, their interests first. So when I established this office in 2015, its role is to make sure that their role is to protect my votes, is to be the agents of only and only my candidature. So for other MPs, chairpersons, actually, on that very day when we are casting votes on 15th, we only concentrated on His Excellency, the President, that is the party chairman. So MPs, they had their own agents with their own appointment letters. So, Office of the National Chairman, that was its role. And I think the role we did very well.
Thank you, Jamil, and you're very welcome.
Thank you,
It's
sir.
your first time, but we hope that we are subsequently going to be hosting you. And I would like you to thank the Office of the National Chairman.
Yeah.
Because they have been consistently
True.
giving us
following.
panelists when we ask for them.
Yeah.
Dear viewer, in this edition, we are going to reflect on the just concluded presidential and parliamentary elections. We know that the parliamentary elections are going on. It was mainly for the women and directly elected constituency parliamentarians. I think the workers took place today or yesterday.
Yesterday.
We know that there was another one, I think. Which one was
Today.
it? People with disability, was it?
Yeah.
It was the one which
And the
is
youth today.
today, and then the young people, and then we know the UPDF is still there. So some of the interest groups are still there. So the parliamentary elections are going on, but the directly elected ones, the women representatives, and of course the presidential, which sometimes just feel like they're the main elections really that we have. And I want to start with you, Farida. Farida, you had two hats. You were trying to make sure that we know what to do before the election, but also went around seeing what is happening during the election. What are the key reflections that you would want to share with our viewers from your experience?
Thank you, Richard, and our viewers. It was a really good experience, but tough. I'll start with voter education. There was a lot to be shared and also to sensitize people. The new information that came in a bit late, it needed a lot of extra effort from all stakeholders, not only Electoral Commission, but also the political parties and ourselves. So we needed to have all the concerted effort together to make sure that this information gets to the people in the villages, also these people who are in town who are busy working. Unfortunately, there were a few players who are trying to, as much as possible, to make sure that we have the messages out there. Good enough, the two issues that I was very scared of was the biometric and also the voter location slips. The biometric, I thought people are going to be confused and they didn't get the message. I thought they had not got the message. But on election day, I was so shocked. But when people demanded that, when they demanded that we are not going to vote until these machines operate. If they don't start work, we shall not. If you don't start with them, we are not going to vote. Because we are sure we have had everyone, including the chairman, insisting that the only vote that is going to be counted will be through the machine. So even when the machines had failed, people insisted. So for me, I was happy that the message reached the voters, despite the fact that the machines failed, but at least they had gotten the message. And then when I saw the voter location slips, people were waving. In fact, I took pictures. Everyone in the line, there's a polling station where I went, and most, like 70%, they all had their voter location slips. Remember, those voter location slips, usually they lie at the parish level. But this time around, people had the message and started picking the voter location slips, giving them to actually to the neighbors. I know that Farida stays there. Like, for example, my voter location slip was brought by a stranger I even don't know. So they brought the voter location slip to my house. Just
Mine
like
was also brought by the LC.
So people are so inquisitive, and I liked the positive response that at least if we are all going into that direction, we could actually solve some of these issues, the challenges in elections. On the other bit, but still when it came to the voter turnout, I still have three issues that I would like to raise on the voter turnout. So disappointed that instead of increasing from 59, because in 2029 we had 59%, this time we had 52, meaning it actually went very low. But I realized that when I was observing, in the morning we had high volumes or high turnout. People were many at different polling stations. In fact, they came before the polling materials. And by 6:30, you could find that polling stations had a good number of voters, around 200, 300 in the morning. By 7, Then I waited for the opening. Then around 3 to 4, I started doing my analysis. That is when I realized that the voter turnout is going to be low. Because I could compare the numbers in the morning and also those who had voted by that time. And you could see that those who had voted were not more than 300 or 200, even 150 at a polling station which has 600, 700. So I just sampled. That's when I started believing in the scientific representation of the people making research. Because I just sampled around 15 polling stations. Then I said, it is going to be low. And for sure, it was low. So I still think that all of us were supposed to make, our efforts in sensitizing Ugandans maybe lacked a little bit in ensuring that we convince them and that there is trust in the electoral process. I think at that forum we failed, because you would see that the good number of people who did not turn out to vote, they had fears that the national IDs, they didn't have national IDs. They still believed that the national IDs were key to the process. So you would see that those who were not sure that the process would actually take them on, despite the fact they did not have national IDs, decided to stay home. Then there are those who did not want to stay in the queue for long. They said, let's go very early in the morning, vote, and then leave, because I think the queues were going to be long. Unfortunately, so when the machines failed, those ones also left. They did come back. Then also, at around 2, 1, in fact, there were no people voting. You know, you would find one person at a polling station, 2, so the lines were not long, meaning that people underestimated. They thought that maybe voting is going to take a lot of time because of the delayed machines. Unfortunately, when they started with the register, the process was so fast, so that they managed to deal with all those people who had stayed in the queue in the morning.
The observations don't sound too bad, except where the people then turned away and most likely did not come back. Daniel, you had predicted about a 70% for your candidate. You seem to have been speaking to God.
You remember, Comrade Waguma and our esteemed viewers, I told you that God loves NRM. I've not just stated it here. I don't know about other parties.
Now you're going to hear us.
They will speak for themselves. But God loves NRM. Why do I say so? Apart from my prediction having come true at the presidential level, I have consistently, I'm one of those few NRM people who point out what we call positive criticism. And in my positive criticism, I have pointed out that we have got a number of mistakes as a political party. Probably we are not ready for multipartism. There are mistakes, there are those we have corrected, there are those we continue to make. But to say that we have garnered for the president 71.6%, and that we have almost painted the entire country yellow, speaks volumes. Because at one time, was it 2006? I think we were something like 56, around there, percent. That was worrisome.
56 what?
50%, the level of the president.
Yeah.
Yes.
The voter turnout.
No. What our
okay,
candidate
okay,
got.
okay. Yeah, 56.
Yes. Now that was serious. That was it.
Actually, he got 56 times 2.
Now,
Yeah.
it shows that the opposition was gaining momentum, and maybe then the opposition had a national character, but this time around you can see that we have got an opposition, which, by the way, is even being dislodged from its main ground, because I understand, Comrade Waguma, that we had about NUP losing about 23 of their former MPs. And majority of those they lost them to the ruling party. So that also is something that should be taken note of. in my opinion, very quickly, I realized that Uganda is also, the people are also increasingly becoming very peaceful. Because the messages that were going around from some sections of the people about 2 weeks or so of after voting, stay around, then the security forces came, issued their contrary messages. After voting, please don't stay around. Then the chairman also came of the Electoral Commission and said what he said. There was a moment of confusion, and a number of people, Baguma, I'm not saying because you voted from the village you are running away from Kampala. No, I'm saying there are those who after voting, they just stayed away. They said,
I didn't vote from the village.
Hey,
It's a mischaracterization.
you voted from
Mbarara is declared a city.
Oh,
It is
is it,
Mbarara city. So I voted from the city.
my apologies.
Please.
My apologies, sir. So therefore, you get a sense that up to now, that we have got a semblance, save for some isolated cases I have had. Like I really don't have that evidence, but nobody again has come up to rebut that there was some death at Honorable Chivumbi, Chivumbi's residence. I really wonder what
No,
happened.
His Excellency the President talked about that.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
That one is not.
I missed it. I missed it. So people died. And
Yes.
That's the point. And they died out of gunshots.
Yes.
Whatever was the circumstances were. That is very unfortunate. And there were others around Busoga and what have you.
Mukono.
Except for that, I think we have generally held one of the most peaceful elections. And I say this against the backdrop of what has been surrounding us as a country. That we have had general elections in Tanzania where the situation reported from there by the time they voted, we had main opposition parties. Of course, here we know that we have Besigye in prison. It is not lost on us. And we have got some other MPs who had expressed interest and they went ahead through the elections. Yes, but at the same time, the main opposition parties, they participated. But in the case of Tanzania, of course, I would have loved that even those ones who are not enjoying their freedoms would be out. I would have loved that to happen. But I'm not going to contradict the law if the law is that they are suspected of having committed some crimes and they are being tried. That is another debate altogether. The point I'm making is that we have had general elections against the background of our neighbors who have not successfully had what we have just concluded and the balance of what we are going through, which also seem to be going smoothly. And to that extent, therefore, I thank the Ugandans, I thank the government for having tried their level best. Of course, there are incidences.
Yes.
There are incidences that have been reported. We are seeing on TV cases in Nakawa, cases in here, Kampala Central. The candidates who lost are alleging, making allegations that there were ballot stuffing. There are some generated, I don't know if it is AI, or indeed some people are stuffing these things which are circulating around. If true, then that is very unfortunate. But my sister here now, Farida, it is part of her work to educate civically and the voter education and the civic empowerment. Of course,
Yeah. No, we are coming there.
Yes.
You are going ahead of me.
Oh,
I basically have your reflections
Yes.
and with your conclusion that we had the most peaceful.
surely.
Election.
Relatively speaking,
Yes.
the most, and maybe if I can conclude on this, since I shall have the time to go into these others, I want to state also that the fact that we had a good number of the biometric machines failing. They failed because even where they showed us the president voting, and the president didn't go the biometric machine. The only thing I saw, he was told to remove his hat, and they took him a picture that one was now solving many other problems. But that is not what we had been told. So at that level, the fact that we had a good number of our machines not operating, and we have not been told clearly what failed. Was it the machines themselves or the people who were supposed to operate the machines? Because
Or even both.
But at the end of the day, I think the Electoral Commission and whoever other person is responsible should come and explain to Ugandans as to how a project that costs Ugandans millions of dollars of money could just be frustrated in the manner in which it was frustrated.
Okay, so biometric will be one of the issues, but God's love for the NRM is also another of the issues.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so Bwana Kazibu,
Yes, sir.
you were very much involved in this process. And from what you have said, you are about to be unemployed because your role is now over. But reflections on the elections, especially the main one, the 15th. Tell us, share your own reflections.
You see, thank you. You see, if we just give a reflection of the D-Day on the 15th, and we don't analyze the outcome, how it started, we shall miss out a few things. One, Ndugu Baguma, now we have, by around May, many candidates will be swearing in to start their operation or to start to deliver the service, the commitments, what is in the manifesto and each and everything. Starting from next year, the Electoral Commission will still come to Parliament to ask for funds to prepare for elections 2031. What is my point here? The sensitization and the mismanagement of an election, everything goes back to Electoral Commission.
Jamil, you are going to start a debate. But I am going to listen to you, but I have said, not everything goes to the Electoral Commission. Some things go to them. But you you continue with your point.
The reason why, who owns all this exercise? Who is in the operating system? Who is the engine?
regulator.
Who owns?
Who is the regulator?
No, who owns?
It is the EC.
Is your chairman?
No. That is why.
The EC is appointed by who?
That is why. That is why. Even when the chairman is casting a vote, they give him instructions and he abides by the instructions. That is why we say if at all you cannot be able to submit the number of people who are signing on your forms, you will not stand as a president. That is why they say these are our rules. You need to follow. And you have to abide by the rules. So one, sensitizing our people was very paramount. You know, sometimes
but why didn't it? Let me tell you why it didn't happen.
We all know why it didn't.
Yeah, thank you very much.
We
So
all
if
know
you
why.
say it is the Electoral Commission,
Yes.
it is not.
You see,
That is vote education.
vote education.
So vote education is the mandate of the Electoral Commission.
That is
Maybe civic
Civic
education.
education.
That's the difference.
See, you see, we reached at the time
Mandate
on
and the
around-
tools to deliver the mandate are different things.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes, there are two
Doesn't
different
take
things.
away the
But
mandate.
Yeah.
but if your mandate you don't fulfill, everything that is within your mandate, it means you have failed to deliver the service you are committed to do.
Yeah, but you see, because we thank you for bringing up this debate. You said if we don't focus on the day, we shall lose some things.
Exactly.
Thank you for bringing up this debate.
Yes.
The one who appropriates the tools for the Electoral Commission to deliver is first the executive.
Exactly.
That brings a budget, and they take away the money for voter education. They don't bring it in the budget. And Parliament, even the little that is commission, Parliament cuts it. So what do you want the Electoral Commission to do? Surely, and you blame them.
Ndugu Baguma,
Yes.
There is some things people, our viewers want to understand. One, we do the same mistakes regularly. For instance, if we've decided to go digital, let's focus on digital system. And we practice until we perfect it. If we say let us go analog, we should not mix up things. For instance, you have time frame that you are going to procure the machines to come, and everyone has to, even the media, to see, and we have procured these machines. Come and you make a visibility study over those machines. You don't come at the D-Day and you start to farm. After then you start calling stakeholders. Commissioner, what should we do now? Let us go analog. Anyone who is in the register with what you should know. You had the time. You procured the machines.
No,
they had. You see,
because this is amazing for me. The procurement of the machine was a last-minute supplementary budget in the regular budgets. Jamil, that money was never given, never.
Do you know that they gave that money a month prior?
1 month.
1 month.
Do you also know the procurement processes of government?
Yes, I know.
So how do you give me money in 1 month?
No.
Surely.
You see, let me give you a
I
scenario
like this
now.
debate very much, actually.
Yes.
Yes.
You see, let me give you a scenario now. Apparently, Pickfair is the one which is printing the ballot papers for the councillors that are going to be casted tomorrow. But for instance, in 2031, you will find that we have not upgraded to make sure that a local company can be able to process all these. And we are looking at these things as if it has just come abruptly.
And the Electoral Commission will upgrade private companies?
No, not.
Yes.
Because now, let me give you a scenario.
Yes.
A ballot paper, we know how a ballot paper is. You saw how a ballot paper is. You mean we don't have here local companies that can process those ballot papers?
Your chairman is not supporting them.
No.
Your chairman is not supporting them.
If the chairman is not the one to say this is the company should give to procure, it is the role of the Electoral Commission.
There should be money for private sector. It's not there.
No, it's...
but you're taking me from the, from the main election
The reason
debate.
why I'm bringing all that,
Yes.
it is the Electoral Commission not to be prepared for the event they know that it has to occur.
Because the executive and parliament is not giving them the resources to be prepared.
They give.
We have a deadlock
They
there.
give because now.
But another thing, Kazawe, if Electoral Commission, with all due respect, I have immense respect for Electoral Commission. If Electoral Commission realized that only 1 month was left, and 1 month was not going to be enough for the procurement of those biometric machines, the training of the people who are going to use the machines, what did they do?
And
when they received the money,
Rugarama,
they
let me
proceeded.
no, Rugarama, before you continue,
They proceeded.
who was on air on our television stations in the media pushing for it? Who pushed most for them?
Chair. His chair.
Thank you. So you are diverting me, you two gentlemen, because you have to defend your chair. I want the reflections. You continue, Bwana Kazibwe, with your reflections. But for me, and you can continue, I'm not going to interfere. But for me, to exonerate the executive and parliament, that should give the tools to the Electoral Commission, and then come and blame them. I think it's a debatable thing. But continue.
But as you continue go with this information, the Electoral Commission came to the public through the media. They confirmed to the voters
that everything
we were
is
not
okay.
just only ready, we are also sufficiently informed to be able to use the machines, and there is going to be no problem at all. Were you not in a show?
Yeah.
With one with
Of
the
technical person.
head who confirmed to the entire world what happened. They agreed.
So, Rugaram, I have to defend your chairman to the hilt, I know, sir, and thank you very much for doing a good job.
So, at the end of the day, we shall
But we must give them tools, otherwise we'll keep
all these
lamenting.
misunderstandings. Two, if at all we have our mothers, the women, they don't deal with violence. The moment you hear, you'll vote and go. You vote and stay. You vote and kukabanja. You vote and... Then these mothers of ours, whereby they are the majority voters, the end result is, instead of me going for this chaos, let me start home. That is why you'll find that is the EC, if you have failed to be in total control, because me as is, I will say the regulations say this, and these are the rules that govern the system. A person has to be at the polling station, cast his vote, and be 20 meters away from the polling station. Every person will say, oh, so this is the rule. These issues of the security has said this. No, what are the rules saying? What are the rules saying? So at the end of the day, you'll find that the vote turn up, and you find my chairman has won. But the people who have not casted, it is a huge number than the number of my chairman that has done what?
Half the registered voters.
Half the registered numbers. And it is a shame because we are repeating. Me to come here and say, oh, now it has been peaceful, we have lost lives, even last time we lost. When will we stop? A life lost is a life lost. When will we stop losing people? Because we have not prepared ourselves. Because this is not a matter of life and death. No. You present your manifestos, we listen, we analyze, give us our time to cast our vote. After that, we say, this one has been declared a winner. And then we follow the procedure. But this issue of saying, me, I'm an omega, I'm non-touchable, no. Because our country, Ndugubaguma, there is Uganda now, before and after. And if we come here at the station and we become like some leaders that you see, the reason why they removed the internet, that a mail was passing around and he destroyed the wire cables. Really, 21st century, you want us also to reason like that? We should not do that. We should not prepare the generation to be fooled at that extent. So, EC should prepare itself. Let Biamakama be in charge. Let him own it. The way President Museveni, after when he's the president, he owns, and I say, this is my country, I own it. If it is to defend the borders of this country, I'm in charge. So if Biamakama, you cannot be in charge, resign and say, you see, it is a good job, but I will not afford. Let Baguma take over. Who can afford?
Not him.
That's my point. So this issue of people, issue of people,
I'm coming to you, Farida.
These people of saying, they have appointed me to be a commissioner. Hey, okay, let me go and be a commissioner. No, because we are talking about service delivery. We are talking about good hospitals. We are talking about, and these people Baguma, we have invested billions for democracy. We have invested billions to reach on 15th. And you mess things at the end. We have won, yes. But we need something more than that. More than that.
Certain
You're
things
not-
must
they're
be
not happy with
explained.
Certain things must be explained.
It's not business as usual.
Yes, not to say, okay, we have won, let us move on with jubilating. No.
I agree with you.
Yes.
I agree with you to the extent that both of you agree. I'm not sure that I agree with you for the rest of the things. But Farida.
See the man you wanted to say.
Farida, we had other election observers, and all of them across the board were very clear about, for example, the role of the armed forces. Some people were a bit more diplomatic in their language. The others were a little harsher. Starting from the Chief of Defense Forces to the Inspector General of Police and their contradictory, their contradiction of the law that Kazibu has been talking about. And so imagine these guys in uniform who are in charge of armories, who are in charge of armies and police. They contradict. And then poor chairman of the Electoral Commission has to come and confirm their position. So what, as one who worked with the Electoral Commission, what should the Electoral Commission be doing if everybody is breathing down their necks in spite of the provisions of the Constitution?
In fact, one would ask, is the Commission in charge of the whole process? First of all, we have to go back how the Commission comes on board. Because if his chairman insists that they are supposed to appoint the chairman of the commission and the commissioners, meaning that they have to pay allegiance to the chairman. That is where we all go wrong. That is where we went wrong. We are supposed to have an independent commission. In the first place, we cannot have an independent commission whereby it is the president who is appointing the commission. But in this process, for sure, there are so many other implementers. There are so many other stakeholders who are assuming to play the role of the Electoral Commission. You cannot have a message from the security running, talking about elections and giving directives, when we all know that the person who is supposed to give the guidelines to the electoral process is the Electoral Commission. We urged about that, urging security, how security can be managed under the commission. And they said no. The security has other, there is a way they operate that they cannot be managed by the commission during the election period. So, but the Ministry of Defense coming out to actually begin issuing statements on how the electoral process is going to happen, on how the polling day is going to be managed, that was completely wrong. And first of all, the commission was supposed to come out and explain itself, but then they condemned Ministry of Defense. Maybe if the Ministry of Defense wanted to issue that, I don't know how, they wanted to issue to guide the commission on polling day. They were supposed to go through the commission, give the commission your message, and then let the commission pronounce itself on that. There would be no contradictions on how to manage the election. But the fact that the commission, the Ministry of Defense came out and asserted themselves, it shows that they were suffocating the commission. And the commission did not come out clearly to defend themselves and actually put maybe warn Ministry of Defense not to interfere in their in their game. That was wrong. So people, actually from that time, people did not, most of the voters did not believe that the commission will actually deliver a free and fair election, and they did not have trust in the commission. It's just like Baguma, you are in the home, your wife is seated here and your son you give a directive and then your son comes around and says, no, daddy, you're not supposed to do this. So what will the young ones actually believe? They will think that daddy is powerless, that he can even be ordered by his own son. So when he said, and there is another element he brought on board on blaming the commission. Yes, I'm not going to blame the commission, but all the stakeholders, parliament, executive, and electoral commission, all inclusive. When you see the budget of the electoral commission, you would see new cars at maybe 6 or 500 billion for commissioners. And then you come down and then you look at the budget of voter education and you all sit comfortably and then you begin passing the budget for the cars in billions, and then you begin questioning, you come down, it is little, it is 300, and then you begin questioning, maybe cut this budget of voter education. At the end of the day, these are the very members of parliament who are going to come out and cry and actually stand on TV and begin saying, we do not have voter education.
But maybe the
All right,
commission,
so
it's
at that point,
At that point.
we are going to take a break and have listener education so that it does not suffer the same fate as voter education. But when we come back, Farida, I will continue with you because the two gentlemen want us to go back and look at the back end. Where are the issues that are reflected on polling day come from? I think that's a very useful education for our viewers. So we go for a break now. Please don't go away. When we come back, we keep examining and reflecting on the issues that happened pre the election, but later on we shall also talk about what we expect from each of the panelists now after the main election. Don't go away. Welcome back, and thank you for staying with us. From that short break, it's the Ballot 2026, Family TV, the Church of Uganda television station. Bagumatinka Simere Richard is your host. On my extreme right, Kazibwe Jamil. Kazibwe is from the office of the National Chairman of the National Resistance Movement, donned very well in yellow, and obviously celebrating a good percentage for his candidate. Daniel Rugarama is a lawyer and a global geostrategic analyst. But now we are doing national geostrategic analysis. So I hope you can come from the global to the national. and then, Farida Ruresh. Farida has been observing the elections, but she was also very much involved in education for the voter. And we are looking at, the just concluded elections, part of the ongoing process, sharing our reflections. One of the institutions that has come into the spotlight is obviously the Electoral Commission, which on paper, in my view, has the mandate. But practically, in my view, we can have debates about that mandate and its and the overreach of some of the other institutions which are mandated to do other things, but they seem to get into this. We were with you particularly on that issue, Farida. You were talking about the overreach of especially the security agencies and some other institutions, but also the budgetary constraints that the Electoral Commission had. But those are some of the two. But also, there seems to be relative incompetence in the Electoral Commissions over time, including the one where Daniel worked for probably a decade. You worked in the Electoral Commission for a decade?
14 years.
14 years, about 1.5 decades. Daniel was part of the incompetence of the previous.
Ours was extremely competent.
So Farida, in this election, partly the incompetence of the Electoral Commission also comes through. I mean, one of the issues, for example, that has come up repeatedly is that it is loyalists who are appointed to be commissioners, largely. NRM loyalists, or President Museveni loyalists. I'm a Musevenist myself. I'm not an NRM. But you know that loyalists are the ones put in place, and so a lot of them, former politicians or people who have demonstrated, and many of them will inevitably show their yellow color in their practice. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, but no, because I have seen, myself have seen these people perform their duty professionally, and despite the fact they have that background, but at least when they are executing this program, you would see that they are a bit fair to the process and also try to follow the law. So maybe at some point they can be frustrated by actually their own, because in the event that when they are trying to implement what is required of them, but I think something has to be done to the whole process. The commission, if the president accepts, now that he has been frustrated by the same, because I saw his frustration on polling day. He believed in the machines, and at the end of the day, someone sabotaged. I think what Dr. Daniel said, that the commission owes the country an explanation what really happened. And most of you are looking at the biometrics, but even the delivery of polling materials at a polling station, that entirely goes to the commission. Because if you have prepared for 5 years and you fail to deliver polling materials by 6:30, I don't know, maybe they will come and explain to us that maybe they were waiting for security to order them to escort the materials and they were delayed by security. Even security should come out clearly and tell us, since they're supposed to escort the materials, what really happened? Did they send the polling constables on time? Because the commission cannot deliver or dispatch any polling material to any polling station without security. So we would want to know what really happened. Who was the player that actually delayed the commission? Because it is abnormal for a district like Wakiso to fail to deliver materials at Nasana municipality by 6:30. Wakiso and Nasana, it is just a 5 minutes drive.
Where
And
do
you're
they do
there.
the materials stay? Not at the police station?
Exactly. So, no, I think they were at the district, because they're supposed to be at the sub-county level.
All of them?
All of them. But even that little achievement of us denying the country to start voting at exactly 7, I do not know any part of the country that started voting at 7. Yet the law says we are supposed to start at 7. And even the organizers, the managers of the election knew it very well that we are supposed to start by 7. Meaning in your programming, you know that by this time, all materials should be at polling stations. And then you struggle with the 10 voters. But the 10 voters were even more. We even had hundreds, because I was in the field by 5 a.m. in the morning. And I was moving a different polling station. But by 6, the voters were there. Polling officials were not there. Polling officials came at 6:30, but at least police was there. By 6, we had security. So for them, they were on time. So what happened to the managers of the election? Why were they not on time? You are the owner of the event, and then you come late, and the visitors come early. Does that make sense? It doesn't. So I think we still have to go back to the Supreme Court's recommendations, because I think Parliament has been picking, and the executive, those in power, they have been picking a few bits of the Supreme Court recommendations, but they're not looking at all the recommendations in detail. What informed those recommendations? Can we go back and sit and look at the recommendations of the Supreme Court? At least because the Supreme Court, those people, the judges, are all appointed by the executive, meaning they should listen to their own. Because the people who made the recommendations did not come from Nairobi. Neither did they come from Malawi. Neither did they come from the US. These are your own. You actually appointed them. So they are saying, they are speaking to you. You know, if you want to have a clean election, do A, B, C, D, at least for a start. But when you see all these people, I was seeing all of them running around, from the speaker to also all members of parliament, running around looking for votes. And I was like, these are the very people who are supposed to look at, for them to actually enjoy this space and to enjoy the win. Like I said, we did not enjoy the win. They are not enjoying the win because there were so many irregularities. If you want to comfortably win to enjoy the 71%, you would actually say yes. You would comfortably say yes, really. We have got 71. Because we are the government who have contributed to the organization of this election, and we have managed to sensitize the voters to make informed choices. They have been able to make informed choices, and they have elected us back to power. But you have a percentage of invalids, and you sit comfortably and enjoy the win? No.
Jamia.
Yes.
You see, your candidate is also the president. By law, the president has to appoint the electoral commission. So should we be at all concerned that he will appoint realists? I mean, he has to do his job.
You see, there are certain things, personally, in my own opinion, that we just need to have reforms, in constitutional reforms and the electoral reforms. For instance, it's not only even in EC, when you see even in our party, you cannot be saying that we are practicing democracy, and then you see the chairman, no one should stand against the chairman and the vice chairman. No. So these things we need to be open, and we say, this is the way how things should be done. If it is to follow the law, let us follow the law. If we decide not to follow the law, we say we are not following the law. But to bring that, you see, all these MPs that complain, even us, when Mzee appoints these people, he sends these, the committee to Parliament to verify. Me, in my opinion, I think it's where the game starts. The legislators to say, you see, yes, Your Excellency, you have appointed Kaziwe, you have appointed Waguma, you have appointed Benon, but I think they are not transparent people according to their background. Do you have more options? Oh, for us, we are, in our own view, these are the people we can recommend. Go through them. That is one. Two, if at all we claim, the opposition side, we claim that it is not an independent electoral commission. In the Constitution, you want, when it comes to one thing, it has to favor you, another thing doesn't want the favor to be on your side. For instance, the same president you have given the powers to appoint the commission, it is the same president you have given powers also to allocate resources to opposition side that is fighting him. So if at all we need to make reforms, these are things we need to look at. If the opposition has to stand, where are they going to get resources? Not to be saying we need resources from iPod, from the government, that we want to fight and we break its chains. That cannot happen. Sometimes we look at it, but in general perspective, it cannot. So there are some reforms we need to. But sometimes when we say, let us have the reforms, everyone is shying away from it. Everyone is running away from it. We have finished elections. But if now we have to sit and we tell people, you know, one day, let us imagine our country without President Museveni. How do you want? We bring all stakeholders from opposition, from the economists, till later get to the doctor. How do you want our country to? Actually, in this era, in this surge, that is the only thing I could even prefer president to look at. How can the country move without me? Can we revive and can we bring things back to the way, back to the roots? And I position myself in my absentia. I wake up one day, I see this is the way Uganda is moving without me. So that one requires all stakeholders in the media fraternity, all stakeholders, civil society, all organizations, we come on board. Let us make Uganda first. How do you see? Let us not discriminate the opposition. When they bring their opinions, okay, we want to conduct elections in 2031. This is our view, this is our opinion. Let us have an independent electoral commission. Let the religious leaders submit people. We have people who are legit, we have people who have good background. From people who have been in the law society, that at least this person, according to his track record, at least is a worthy person. Then we submit those names. Then not to sit there, or a president to sit there, okay, but I have Kaziwe is a good card. I think he can be a good commissioner. Hey, did you do law? You are a good practitioner. Okay, you go and be a commissioner. There are 7, you be among the 7. No. So when it comes to make reforms, let us be, as Ugandans, me, I normally tell my young people, being young, yes, you can be young, but doesn't guarantee you that you can move the country forward. No. Ideology versus biology. You can be young, but ideologically you are bankrupt. So we need to sit down and say, okay, this is how the country should be. And even we, the so-called young people, let us listen. Let us try to learn from the elders. How have they? Because we don't want to listen. We don't know, and yet we don't know. And it is a very bad habit. 35 and below. Look now, you ask them, yes, you casted your votes. Yes, you've run, and randomly pick them from streets, even in our villages. Ask them, okay, what was Mzee's message according to the manifesto? What were you analyzing? I came to say musician. Really? So we need to bring out the generation back to where we belong. And we say, no, in specialization, me, I'm not a lawyer. Let these people draft how the constitution reforms should be, and we see where should our input be. And we shape our country to the right direction. Because psychologically, you cannot convince any person that me, I appointed you to fight me. Psychologically, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't. So in reforms, we need to look at those things. Yes, we could win. You see, in Uganda, we have a saying, when you are on your wedding day and you don't see people jubilating with you, just know the bride you've taken or the groom you are taking, someone is what? Someone else's wife. So we have won. We expected the streets to be jubilating everywhere. But if you don't see that, it means we are taking someone's wife.
Even at the Tari Center.
It means we are taking someone's wife. So you may win, but yes, winning is one. But what next? Mzee is talking about the money economy, the 500 billion target. Yes, is it achievable? How? Mzee, does he have the vigor to tap on those people, the corrupt areas? You, the young people, saying we are young, how are you helping this young man? Call the young professionals for a conference. Let us fight and see we help this man. By the time he has done his part to say, okay, the country is yours, you have already been nurtured. For us, what do we want? Vibe, chako video.
Daniel, let me bring you into the vibe. You see, before I went to Jamil, we were talking about the reforms that should have happened, that ought to happen. When we reflect on this election that is ongoing, that the main one has just happened, should we be looking back at the reforms that didn't happen?
Maybe before Dr. Daniel comes in, I want to give our viewers the reforms specifically, then maybe we can know what reforms did the Supreme Court refer to. And then among those ones, we can actually be informed of what we're actually advocating for. The nature of evidence in presidential elections, other than use of affidavit evidence, was one of the recommendations. Timelines of for holding fresh elections, use of technology in elections, unequal use of state-owned media, late enactment of relevant legislation, then donations during the election period, involvement of public officers in political campaigns. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Role of the Attorney General in the election petition. So those were the few recommendations. And we saw everything, most of them happen in this election. Maybe over to you, Daniel.
Thank you so much. The short of it really is that the amount of the election petition, the summary of it is one, the Attorney General, and never mind of course that the Attorney General then it may not necessarily be the Attorney General now. We're talking about the office, was directed that in 2 years' time, these recommendations, he should come and report on the progress. Now, if it has not been done, then you know what we call that. There's such a thing as content.
Content,
but like I said,
but these were
the
recommendations.
short of it, the recommendations from Supreme Court are not merely just recommendations, and you don't have actually what we mean by the rule of law, because that is an extra what we call judicial activism. So the judges who moved the step ahead and said, nevertheless, this has failed, but we have noted something. Please go and put your house in order. They are not mere recommendations. It's very serious business. To say there should be fair play, they said that. Question is, have we, as we conduct these general elections, are we experiencing fair play across the board? They said there has got to be transparency. Transparency in the way the exercise is conducted. Are we seeing transparency? So those are the issues that we should be debating. And when you ask, therefore, when Comrade Maguma asks that, is it time to look back and say, was there certain things? He was talking about, what she was reading to you is that this should not be done. We should instead do the opposite of what we are reading. Now, what we're experiencing in this whole, you remember that Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, Norbert Mao, wanted to bring these reforms. Some of these reforms, by the way, we're talking about, like our diaspora voting. There's nothing hard about our diaspora voting. You just go to our respective embassies and you have got a good number of them and you vote. But somehow, I suspect, somebody at the planning level must have given like an intelligence report that you see majority of the people who are outside actually don't support the government. So
which is not true.
Which is not
I
true.
interact with them.
Yes,
It's not true.
there is such a thing as this North America what?
Convention.
Yeah, where there are so many.
I have attended the last three.
Thank you very
I go
much.
there personally.
And majority of them are even NRM. So I think we need to execute some of these things seriously. And that's why I was saying we need to have people being put to account. You have to explain. Such that, you see, there is when you make an explanation and the public is looking at it and they say, he has lied. Yes, absolutely. He said, this explanation he has given is not true. And they are right, the public is right. And it's when you make an explanation and say, he really tried his level business. It is you, Parliament, like we were saying here, it is you, the executive, that let him down. You remember we had the census. With all due respect, I don't like discussing personal issues.
Once you say with all due respect, I start worrying. It's a preamble.
Because you know when we had the census, and the results came when they were some were upside down. The enumerators were, some of them were not paid. You know, they delayed, and yet every money was paid. Then in the court of public opinion, they were like, no, we give the man the money. These boys who are crossing the rivers are not paid. To make matters worse, he has even reduced the population of different regions by this. You mean people have been giving birth or they have been dying? The rate at which they have been. Then the following, after 2 days, he went and corrected. He said, no, it was an error. You see this? Therefore, certain things must happen the way they are supposed. And when the public knows that in whatever you do, this office I am holding is in trustship. I am seated here doing the work for the people, and the people must give me marks. And when they say no, accordingly, and even the appointing authority, getting these feelers and intelligence reports, should be able to say, no, come and give this explanation. And when the explanation is not satisfactory, he say, I think better create, like I think my brother here was saying, you create space and we have. Unless we reach that point. There was a time, I think that is when NRM, by the way, had just come to power, when ministers would go to the public and they behave in certain ways. I think we had 2 cases. I may not go into names, where a minister then behaved dishonorably, just in a bar, and the following day he was resigning. Why? That the way I behaved as a minister was not fit. I therefore tendered in my resignation. Can we have that with public servants? Because look at it this way. The public servants we have across Africa, and that's where I want to be, but let me talk about Africa. and Uganda. Yoweri Kaguta Museveni authored a paper in 2010 called the 11 bottlenecks that beset Africa. He presented it in South Africa. And he listed as one of the bottlenecks to Africa's development, he listed in there the lethargic public service. That the public servants have a certain attitude and the work ethic is such that it cannot make their respective countries develop. Can you imagine that? Now, what does that therefore mean? That one of the things we must do as a country is to hold public servants accountable, including public servants in electoral commission. And maybe to correct one thing.
And
there is maybe to correct one thing, and there is you see, electoral commission, the president can only appoint the commissioners. Now I want to give the public information that majority of electoral commission work is actually not done by commissioners.
Yeah,
Commissioners are
true.
just here. During my time, and it is the same now, it hasn't changed. We were the ones, because we were returning officers, deputy returning officers, who also double as registrars, and deputy registrars with the secretary, the driver, etc., etc., etc.
So now we are seeing the ones who messed us up.
Therefore, and I want to assure you that it is actually a returning officer who even appoints presiding officers.
Yeah.
Constables, you request for the constables to come and polling assistants. They're the ones who run these adverts. So I can assure you that if, God forbid, there was somebody who wanted to cause chaos in this country and went and got something like 180 returning officers, told them whatever he wants to tell them, we would have a messed up country. Because politics is a highly charged. It creates a highly charged political atmosphere. The stakes are so high that we must be extremely careful. Therefore, that we have had what we have had in the circumstances under which we have had them, to me is a plus that we have tried our level best, and that's why the population must be thanked so far. The security forces, although there were some, those things will always be there. There were some isolated cases.
I want you to conclude.
Yes, there were some isolated cases here and there where probably we took it that the security kind of had taken over the work of electoral commission. I thank God that that was harmonized are enough. But at the end of the day, one thing stands out, that in all this, we must have our story told correctly. Yes, we are not free of errors, and there is no country that has ever had 100% free and fair election. But I watched, as I conclude on this, because Baguma is harassing me to conclude, I watched the international media. I watched CNN, I watched the BBC, I watched Fox News. There was nothing on Fox News, but I also watched my favorite, Al Jazeera. Thank you. The way they were reporting, in fact, I wish they didn't report about us, but the way they reported from CNN to Al Jazeera, those two, it gave me an impression that the outside world is only, especially those global media houses, are only interested in fermenting trouble in our countries. It was either the old man who has been in power for the last 40 years, what has that got to do with the part of the election?
I would like you to conclude.
So therefore, I want to conclude by saying...
You are inciting me when you are refusing to conclude.
Yes, absolutely. I want to conclude by saying that this was a very important point that had to be mentioned, that we must learn, our media houses here must learn to tell our story and tell it correctly, but most importantly also learn to do some of these small things, seemingly small things, do them correctly.
So Daniel Garama is unhappy that the international media is telling the truth.
No, never.
That our president is 81 plus, he has been in power for 40 years. Those are all facts, and Daniel Garama is unhappy with it.
The story I didn't conclude the story and now they were telling it.
But you see, as a journalist, as an editor who has collaborated with those and what, I know that diction, the arrangement of words,
Yes, the choice
and
of words
and
and
the arrangement, yes,
there.
can depict a certain story. But also, on the other side, we must recognize that it is very strange for many countries, especially in the West, to have somebody who has been in power for 4 decades uninterrupted. It is very strange for them. It's not something that they know, particularly people in the West.
And it doesn't make them democratic.
No, yeah, certainly. So that's that. But back to Farida before I go to Jamil. Farida, the management and therefore the outcome of an election, and I agree with Jamil, is also very largely dependent on the process of that election. So if, and I don't want us to speak as if we don't live in Uganda, that the registrar to appoint election officials has 1 million calls from the RNBC, from the chairman, from the commission itself, from the CAO, from the DISO. I don't want us to pretend that the registrars have a free hand to look for competencies. That it is not just technical know-how that will be used to get elected officials. No. There are so many influences, many of them of a political nature, that by the time people are recruited, they belong somewhere. Yeah, so I you see that, and that's why I keep questioning, entirely putting everything on the commission as if the commission is insulated from the other societal. We know, for example, that intelligence services will veto whatever background things there are. Sometimes it is because of political background. But from your observation, and I don't expect that you have the leeway to say some of the things like this. You will be professional for your organization, otherwise you'll be denied a permit to observe. But from your observation of the process, what are those key things you think the country should be dealing with institutionally to be better prepared for the next election? Because we will have an election anyway.
One, before I go into that, I was seated somewhere observing the election. Then I heard clearly one person calling the returning officer. If you do ABCD,
You are in trouble.
you are in trouble. The president has been so clear to declare someone who has won legitimately. And the returning officer was trying to play games. Then that person was warned. I was happy that at the end of that day, that person made the right decision, because I followed the thread until its conclusion. So to go back, what we're supposed to do, we have made research, we have made recommendations as observers, as stakeholders. We all know what we're supposed to do. One, we have to review our laws that are governing the electoral management. What are those laws that we are looking at? One of them is the diaspora people, the prisons. Why did the Constitutional Court decide that these are Ugandans? Most of them are 18 and above. Why should you deny them the right to participate in the election? And when you look at the percentages or the number of people who are actually outside the country, You would even be surprised that there are 5 million or 3 million. And they are all registered voters. They are in that age bracket of what? Voting. And when we look at the number of people who did not turn out to vote, there are actually 10 million. So if you deduct 5 million from 10 million, you will see that you have only 5. Maybe some are in hospitals, some are ASWU observers, others are security people, others are maybe the Electoral Commission officials themselves. So what do we do to all that group, the Electoral Commission people who are managing the elections, to also vote? Because they are part of the 10 million that didn't vote. The security people who are actually deployed everywhere, and they are voters, they have not voted. The security, the army, UPDF also has. They have not also given the chance to vote their leader. The nurses on duty. So, you know, it's a good number of people who actually, we have decided to not to pay attention to that category of group, to have them also have their voice. 2, how is the commission managed or actually handled when it comes to the budget? How are they utilizing the money that we are giving them? Because every time we say, okay, we are not having voter education, each and every report of the observer comes with that challenge. Even in the Electoral Commission report that they send to Parliament, they will mention that. So what is it, just a showbiz that every time we write a report we have to mention that we had challenges with voter education? Is it so hard? Is it like, does it require us to go to the moon to pick the answer to that? If you are saying they are giving you 300 million, so what have you done to advocate for more money? Even in that 300 million, show the world what you have done with the 400 million, with the 300 million to conduct voter education, and show the gray areas that we were given 300 million, and this is what we are this is what we did with the 300 million. We are not able to reach this district ABCD. We wanted to do this, but we are not able to do it.
And information, my sister, there is no way in a population that has been undergoing free primary education, free secondary education for a number of years, where you drop, even if they only dropped like 1 billion and used it responsibly for voter education, you can have a percentage of 2.4 invalid votes, which percentage is even higher than 4 presidential candidates combined together. Answers must be provided. This is not business as usual. This
is not business as usual. We are going to another election with at least with some improvement. For example, Article 12 of the African Union Charter on Democracy and Governance requires member states to integrate civic education in their education curriculum. We have signed that. We are part of the African Union. And I saw even the African Union team. They did not mention that. Have we integrated that voter education in our curriculum? No. But it is there on the books. And even government knows that we're supposed to answer to that. But who has even taken an initiative to actually bring any amendment that, you know what, Ministry of Education, we signed this instrument, and we are supposed to have voter education provided for in our curriculum. It is not there, and no one has never spoken about it. But we keep on advocating for voter education. Well, you know, now use of technology. We know that we are going to use technology in the election. If we are going to use the technology in the election, we cannot wake up one day, 1 month to an election, that we are going to use this new technology.
Machine.
I felt so bad, like when the machines fail to work. Like, for God's sake, how can you have all these machines deployed there? Even we had a stakeholders engagement meeting, but even at that meeting, we did not have the machines to test.
Okay, so I hear your recommendations.
So before I finish,
Yes.
I actually felt the intention of the president on this BVK machine, that the intention of the machines were to address an irregularity. And trust me, we are going to court, people are going to court, and most of the issues that the BVK machine was going to address are going to be presented in court. And that was the fear of the president, that no, let us clean the what? The process. Let at least everyone win on credibility. But you'd see people inserting, actually about staffing. You would see people ticking. And, you know, and the returning officers were not in control. So because if you don't just have to sit at the district, can't you go around and supervise your area? Because you have fuel, you also have the car. Then at the end of the day, Daniel can tell us, maybe at around 3, I should drive back to the district to begin receiving results. Because both of you, me and you, we know that for a fact that these people who are actually deployed to be presiding officers, some people, like for example, where I vote from, the person who is a supervisor got a sister, a daughter, and so on. They are the ones managing the elections.
It's a very competent family, very well qualified, very competent.
Exactly. So, you know, so the returning officer should be in charge of his district.
So the hate of
To at
cynicism.
least handle such mess.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Farida. I can feel your pain, but I can also feel the recommendations. Jamil,
Yeah.
you have another 5 years
Yeah.
to manage this country, to run. I mean, if everything goes as we expect it to go, we'll have another election. Actually, we are still undergoing elections. There will be petitions, we'll have by-elections, we will have, you know, all these things. From your perspective, what are those things that we should be looking at, that we should be looking to improve, so that we can even deliver better at the next election?
There are many. One, before we do anything, we need to carry the cross by ourselves. You know, when you read the Bible, I'm a Muslim, but I read Bible as well. There is
knowledge is knowledge.
Yeah, there is in Ephesians chapter 3, verse 3. It says, there are times and seasons for everything. Ecclesiastes
Yes.
chapter 3, verse 3. There are times and seasons for everything. We need to know and to accept that we are in the times and seasons of technology, whereby as we speak here, you can get your phone, know what is at your home, and you know what, and even call them. If someone is deceiving that is at home, you get to know that in the camera is showing me you are not home. So in 21st century, with the development of technology, we have a bigger task. As we apply technology, we have our grandparents, we have our mothers, who most of them even don't use smartphones. The same applies even to my chairman, who uses Katochi. So,
Security reasons.
so how do we try to bring them on board? Let me give you a scenario. When we are looking for example, USA, when they are casting their votes, they put what they call like maybe a motherboard. You look at, if they are casting in California, we have number of voters, we have voted like this, and this is the number. It is physical, you can see it due to technology. So as the technology moves on, we need to bring our people on board. Okay, the type of ballot paper you are going to use, it has a chip. We don't even need presiding officers to count. We just cast a vote, it counts itself. Technology goes direct up to the head office. So we need to improve. But at the level whereby just a machine cannot operate, I don't know if we can improve to that level.
In one of the constituencies, in Ibanda,
Yeah.
the ballot paper did not have one of the candidates.
Imagine.
So they just had to stop that one, they are going to repeat.
Imagine. So,
The same way in Chiriandongo,
Mm.
around there.
so those simple mistakes, we need to rule them out. 2, the influence of the armed forces. To what extent? To what extent? Let me give you an example. Now, we are civilians. I cannot wake up in the morning and I say, let me put on a combat, even if I will not hold a gun, but I can be able to hold a panga. I move as a soldier. I say, me, I'm a soldier, I'm a first general, I'm a brigadier, or I'm a lieutenant. So I've become a soldier. The way the armed forces are operating, the way they are giving us their services, and we are not intervening, they should also leave the EC to do its work. And we should have the guidelines. When do we need them to come in? Not just to wake up in the morning and you say, no, because there is a polling station in around Usabara. They told me they were casting votes. A drone came, picked all the polling boxes, and they took them away. So to what extent? Do we have some fracases? Do we have some violences? To what extent do the armed forces come in? Because at the end of the day, the democracy we are fighting for, the everything, it starts with security. So we have it, we maintain it. If you tell us, no, we have security threat on A, B, C, and D areas, and this is what we are expecting, you may not inform us because you are using your intelligence to counter-interact with each and everything. So to what extent do security intervene in an election? Because in this election, even with people within NRM, we are beaten, not only in opposition. In Mukono, we lost a person, a vote protector in Mukono. So, to what extent do security come in? 3, when do every Uganda feel like he's comfortable to vote? A prisoner doesn't take away his duty as a Ugandan. Yes, I did crimes, I'm kept somewhere, but I still have my rights. So, do prisoners, can they be allowed to vote?
You mean convicts?
Yes, convicts. Diaspora. All these people. Then the 4th thing where we need to improve is how to know that our media can give us actual figures than people thinking that if you don't see something at CNN or Al Jazeera, it is only those international news that are authentic. You've been in Imbarara, you casted your vote, you on ground, and may I watch CNN and say Family TV, what Family TV is giving me is not right, let me wait for CNN. How? And you have seen it openly. So people are looking at the opinion polls for the international community, but they are not looking at the opinion polls for our. So we need to also bring our people on board to know, because you see, we live, me and you, we are here. We are all Ugandans. In the normal circumstances, now we are going to move together. In 2030, then I say now I will want to engage international community. Where has it been in the previous 4 years? So we need also to make sure that we sensitize our people to get to know that our local media can provide substantial information. Last one, and I think it is the most important thing, is the leaders to orient their supporters. I've seen people killing themselves from the same community, speaking the same language, from almost the same tribes. If I tell you what happened in Irira, you can wonder, are these people all Langese? just because you are contesting to be MPs. Because if we politicians, we don't manage the people we want to lead, then what, at the end, we are going to lose lives. For instance, what happened in Butambala. If we don't control our people, because they listen, we are leaders, they listen to what instructions are our leaders giving us. That is why people, the youth, the generation, we are convinced, Kanoni, Kabanji, Wakagana Kabanja, and you Kabanja from who? And I was asking today, I was moving, I met the university students, I said, okay, if they say they were cheated, I want to see a clear statement from the opposition saying our MPs will not swear in because we are cheated. Me, I saw MPs crying over their votes than their candidates, their presidential candidates. So politics is about interests. Those people are on their interests. So if the leaders cannot give us a clear direction, and me, I can give credit where it is due. In the entire campaign, I've been monitoring opposition. Kyagulanyi has tried to calm his people.
Exactly. That was really good of him.
Honestly speaking, he has tried. Kume mirembe, keep peace until the election day. So that is how leadership should be. And this issue of saying me, I'm running, I'm hiding, no. If they have defeated you, let us come back on board and we look at the broader perspective of our country. Because Uganda doesn't end today. Let us come and we say this is how the country should run. And if we are into multi-party dispensation, okay, how are you going now? Because your party, your political party is just young, 7 to 10 years. So can I rebuild it? Can I rebrand it? And you also try to modify on your message. What has NRM done that have not done? They have grassroots mobilization. They have been in power. They have all these apparatuses. What should I do to encounter?
I hear the 5 things. Daniel, you have 3.5 minutes. Jamil is saying that leaders, we should guide our people, we should work. But if somebody who is also in a leadership position threatens to want your testicles, then what happens? Because somebody writes publicly that they are coming for your testicles.
Well,
how do you calm down now?
Very quickly, really, because 3.5 minutes indeed they are. But let me say this. I have heard that statement. I have also seen it written somewhere. But the bigger picture is that we must improve our language when especially we are in the political environment. Because like I said, politics is, the stakes are very high. And anything that can provoke somebody into usually negative actions are the ones which result from a highly charged political environment. It is unfortunate that even where we have got the so-called order and mature democracies, things are not any better. Because we have got the self-acclaimed United States of America, you see what they are doing, and it becomes very difficult, therefore, that even us who should be learning from them, we seem not to be taking very clear and good notes. That notwithstanding, as we continue to improve our democracy, especially electoral democracy, in the case of Uganda, it is imperative that we look at the recommendations in Among Babas, because I think really we are provided with a guidance, and the guidance is very good for all of us, whether you are in the opposition, whether you are in NRM. I do not see a reason as to why, out of the so many recommendations that were made, us in the movement, we only chose to take the renaming of the Electoral Commission and we included the word independent. I think...
it didn't even pass.
Yes, there
Yeah,
you
it did
go.
pass. We still have the
Now
electoral
that one,
commission.
that one doesn't, it doesn't augur well, because people may think that we are taking them for a ride. NRM, we are better. We have got very good cadres, highly educated. They can see through issues, and we should stop doing certain things that actually paint us in very bad light. Because we can have engagements, bring the opposition to a studio like this one, and we debate. I'm very sure it will be 3-0. Because, but the way these small things are not explained properly is not going to be very healthy for the future of the democracy. Finally, I have seen how the opposition is faring. I have also reflected on the proposals which the electoral reforms which Norbert Mao wanted to bring in a combination with the recommendation of the Supreme Court in Amamba's petition, and I'm seeing a future if we can humble ourselves. The Bible recommends those and thanks those who are meek and humble. I think even when we are in a political environment, let's be humble, meek, respect each other. This Uganda, we found it and we are going to leave it. Let's make the very best out of us.
And this family TV, we found it and we have to leave it now. And I would like to thank you very much. Farida, thank you so much for the work you are doing towards contributing to the democracy, particularly electoral democracy in this country. Please keep it up. God will reward you. Allah is the one who will reward you finally. Daniel Rugarama, thank you so much for being part of the panel and spending your time and sharing your perspectives. Jamil is your first time to be here, and we hope that it's going to, we are going to have you even more. You have very interesting perspectives from my own view, I must say. And I must confess that on another platform, I made a prediction that President Museveni would get 65%, and I said an error of 5%.
It was also
5%, yeah, on either side, and I was almost there.
I was the most correct.
Yeah, surely, Daniel, you were the most correct. But as we go out, the election is still ongoing. So for the lower local governments that are still ongoing, you still have to go and do your civic duty of voting, particularly because these affect you even more because they are closest to you. So we must participate in the remaining elections. We must not say, oh, the main ones are finished, and then we complain when we do not have leaders who represent us or who work hard the way we would. I thank you so much for staying with us. And as we look forward to the next edition, next Wednesday at 9 p.m., I request and urge you to stay tuned to Family TV. Have a good night.
This is Church of Uganda Family TV.